Are you a professional who wants to become a more effective leader? Then get ready for daily tips from the coach with the experience and inspiration to help you succeed in any leadership situation. You're listening to the Meeting Leadership Podcast with Gordon Shepherd.
Welcome to the Meeting Leadership Podcast. I want to say thank you so much for joining me today on part 2 of how to make a great point when it's your turn to speak during a meeting. And in case you missed it, we're actually going to be using the word point as an acronym to help you to be more concise when it's your turn to speak, to help other teammates on your team avoid talking too much or too little when it's their turn to speak during a meeting. Now, the P in point is to prepare your idea. The O in point is to optimize and deliver. The I in point is to invite feedback. N, name the hurdles and solutions. And T, take action. Now, today we're covering the O and the I. In yesterday's episode, we tackled preparation, and then tomorrow we'll tackle the N and the T. And if you really want to follow along, please go ahead and download the free download. It's a checklist for the word point that you can use. It's pretty handy, and it'll help you and your team again to figure this out and really make this kind of common language when you go to make a point during a meeting. You can get that at meetingleadershipinc.com/003 download. That's meetingleadershipinc.com/003 download. And like I said, on today's show, we're going to tackle the O and the I. So let's get started. Now, the O in the acronym POINT stands for optimize and deliver. Now, this means that's the moment when you stand up, really, and you say your point during the meeting. Now, to get ready for that, you're basically at home, you're getting ready, you're doing your preparation, you're getting your, what I'm going to call your elevator pitch ready. So if you got on the elevator with your team and you had that elevator ride, just that duration to actually explain things to them, can you get your, what you want to say into that sort of time frame? Now, this takes a lot of practice. You actually have to get sort of good at it, and really you're babbling into the mirror, or maybe you're lucky you've got a spouse or a partner or a friend who will listen to you and give you feedback. I can tell you, if you saw me prepping for a meeting, you'd see this babbling guy walking a little 15-pound terrier called Freckles around the neighborhood. You wouldn't know what he was saying, but that's just me kind of mumbling, getting all my thoughts in order for whenever I have to give a point or a presentation, and that's kind of how I do it. And you can imagine, now you've gotten into your meeting, you're there, and you take a big breath in, and you say it. You give your elevator pitch, it goes all the way through, it goes well, and then you do what? You get to the I in point. And the I in point stands for invite feedback. Now, fortunately, we've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth, which is not a bad ratio reminder for speaking and listening. Although I can tell you in my case, it should be all ears and no mouth because I am such a talker. But here's the reality. Often we'll say, okay, at this moment, we're going to invite feedback. So say, I've said my thing, and I'll say, what do you think? And now the group has a chance to respond. But what happens so often right after we say that? They start to say one thing, 2 things, and we jump them. And that is the thing I want to really help you and your team avoid when you're making a point. This moment of inviting feedback is really where you kind of sit on your hands and you take in their opinions, their thoughts, their ideas, their input about what you've just said. If you can get the physiological discipline to do this, it will go significantly better. You'll build up a lot more trust and you'll take away your own defensiveness so that you have to practice this. What do you think? And I'm just going to listen and allow that to occur. Because when it does, the very rich feedback that you need from your team members, you absolutely need that from them, is going to come in the right way. And it'll also be an indicator to other people when they speak about how they can do it as well and be successful. And just to give a quick recap, we've gotten through the P, the O, and the I in our acronym, and tomorrow we're going to tackle the N and the T. And I also want to let you know that this episode of the Meeting Leadership Podcast is brought to you by the Meeting Leadership Academy, where you will find fantastic options to build yourself as a leader and also learn how to run highly effective meetings. Visit meetingleadershipinc.com/academy to learn more. And I also want to take a moment to encourage you to send in your comments, your feedback to the show, and I'd be happy to read it out on an episode in the future. Here's an example of a comment that I received back from some of the work that I did with the Rainbow Society of Alberta. It's from Craig Hawkins, the executive director, and he says this: within an hour, Gord had helped us to formulate a plan that would take the Rainbow Society of Alberta to a new level by embracing and re-engaging our board of directors as well as our existing sponsors and donors. Thanks, Craig. And thanks to you for listening. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Meeting Leadership Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Meeting Leadership Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies to help you become an outstanding leader. And don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you fresh content every day. We'll see you tomorrow, right here on the Meeting Leadership Podcast.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living. And the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning.